Hello, my name is Ashley Corbally, and I'm excited to share with you some of the things I've learned doing these readings this week, these past few weeks. And then the first thing I wanted to talk about was kind of what outreach family life education is. In the textbook, it defined family life education as an educational activity occurring outside a traditional classroom setting, usually involving adults, that is designed to strengthen relationships in the home and foster positive individual, couple, and family development. My personal workshop that I'm going to be doing is categorized as family life education because it will take place outside of classroom setting, involve adults, and is designed to strengthen marriage and family relationships. Family life educators must be clear about the purpose of family life education, why they are teaching it. I found that to be really interesting in the reading, how much it's stressed, at how important it is for the family life educators to really make clear what they're teaching and why they're teaching it. And also to go out and to search for what participants want to learn about. I thought that was really interesting. Instead of developing a workshop that are already a plan with lesson plans and then seeing how people respond to it, they go out and survey people by different means and find out what participants, what they want to learn and what they are interested in learning. And that totally makes sense because as an example in a textbook was, they might not be interested, in a community where there's lots of teenagers. Parents might not be interested in learning about how to interact with newborns when they mostly have teenagers. It's not applicable to them. And so I thought it was really, that was really good to focus on the needs of what people need. And something that I connected to the reading these past few weeks with the family life education and also just, with my workshop in general is my family advocacy class that I took last semester. Some of you may have already taken it. It's starting with the story of self. If you think about it as, for example, in a church setting, you go to a sacrament and people are giving a talk, and at least for me anyways, when someone shares a story, a personal story, or just a story in general, I immediately perk up and I listen, and it grabs my attention, and then it usually keeps my attention throughout the whole rest of their talk, more than so if they were just to just read quotes the whole time or begin with something. And there's different ways to begin, but I think starting with the story of self really grabs people attention, and it really makes you more human in that way. The next thing I wanted to talk about was approaches to family life education. The first approach is the expert approach. In this approach, the teacher is the expert and transmits their knowledge to the learners. So an example of this would be a college lecture in which input was not welcome. There's just the teachers is talking to you, and there is very limited, if not any, participation. Then there is the second is the facilitator approach, and that's when teachers don't have a set agenda and they let participants decide what is discussed and taught. So example of this is last Sunday, my normal Sunday school teacher was sick, and they called someone to teach like an hour before Sunday school. And so he didn't really have time to really read and study the lesson all that much. And so he kind of left it up to us. He took the facilitator approach, and he let us decide what was discussed and taught. He kind of dove into what the lesson was about and the main points, but he let us discuss on the topics, and he had overall control of what was taught, but he really left it up to what we wanted to discuss. And then there is the critical inquirer approach, and that's when teachers use questions to help participants think critically about the issues that they present. I think this is important in really having participants really narrow and focus on what you're trying to teach them. Then there is a collaborator approach in which teacher brings knowledge to the lessons, but recognizes that participants bring life experience and learning environment. And this is the approach that I plan to use for my workshop, because I think it's so important, like it said in the text, when you work together, when you realize that yes, I may be a marriage and family studies major and may have some research principles and have a lesson plan that I've worked on, but that these people that I'm teaching also have a lot of knowledge and they have life experience. And especially for me, because I am newly married and don't have any children yet, so I can learn a lot from the participants as they can learn from me as well. And we can all learn from each other. I think that that's when most of the learning takes place. And then there any interventionist approach in which teachers use behavioral methods to teach step-by-step desired behaviors to participants. The last one is the eccentric approach, in which teachers use bits of all the approaches listed above that I mentioned before, depending on the situation at hand. Okay, so marketing family life education, that was a huge part of the chapters that we read, and the 4 main P's of the marketing family life education were the product, price, place, and promotion. For my personal workshop, product is a workshop on strengthening marriages and family relationships. The price will be free. The place is the LDS church building that is open to everyone. And the promotion, I'm planning on making little flyers that are colorful and are organized and that describe the product, place, and price. I kind of have a little story go along with marketing. So I'm really big into theater, and I recently got very involved in my community theater here in Texas. And I was in one show, and then I did the show right after it, which is what I'm still in now. And my first show I did, the marketing department was really on the ball. We had a lot of people show up. We had the show ran for 7 weeks, Thursdays through Saturdays. And we had a lot of people at every show, and then we had someone come to review the show, and the review was in the newspaper, and we got even more people after that. And I think we could have kept going extra weekends, but they had another show to put in. But then the show that I am in now, the marketing department really dropped the ball. Opening night, we didn't have very much. That Saturday we didn't have very much. And this is the second weekend performances, and they actually just canceled Thursday and Friday performances this week because no one made any reservations, because the marketing department did not market it. They didn't plan out the playbill. They didn't send out the normal newsletter that they normally do. And so this was really detrimental. And so that goes to show how important marketing is and family life education. And I hope that I can do a better job in marketing than my community theater did. All right, I think that's everything. Thank you.